Yo, what is going on, boys? This is the sixth day in a row of straight uploads from me, Dan from DNR Sports. Um, Today we're getting into the Seattle Seahawks roster, looking at it from a fantasy and overall perspective, getting the full team overview here. You guys have been showing a lot of love on the last couple of videos. Like I think all five of them, 4 out of the 5 are over 100 views now. I'm loving it. Let's keep it up, boys, and let's get right into it. So, okay. Seattle Seahawks are a little weird. They start every season off like they are the best team in the world. Russ looks like he's just on fire, throwing like 500 yards a game. Yes, last season the defense sucked at the beginning, so it's not exactly true. But I remember last season at the beginning being like, Russ is for sure the MVP, and there's no one else I would rather have leading a 2-minute drill at the end of a game. He seemed just absolutely unstoppable. Let's actually take a look at his splits from the beginning to the end. So Russ, yeah, this end performance, this is like actual trash compared to the beginning. Oh my god. Guys, look at this, The beginning, 34.78, 34.4, 39.8, 25, 25.5, 36, 29, 29, and then it just happens. It just boom. Pete Carroll says, F you, Russ, we are running the ball all the time. And look, his pass attempts go from 35, 28, 40, 32, 32, or sorry, 34, 32, 50, 37, 41, 37, down, and yeah, 27, 36, 32, 27, 27, 43. That was decent. Still at a crap game. It's because they're behind. And 31, 28. Like, it definitely, he went down about like 6 passes per game, I would say. But the efficiency is how Russ always sets the world on fire. And it just something fell apart. I think it's when the defense started to get good and they just took Russ for granted. Like, the defense started to keep them in games. So Pete Carroll and the other coaches are like, okay, we don't need to pass it all the time. We could just do our Chris Carson, DJ Dallas, Travis Homer, and they had Carlos Hyde last season. Just run up the middle. They've always been a team that wants to pound the rock. They've always been a team that wants to pound the rock. But as we know, like, if they just, this is one thing I'll never get about teams. Once they get a good defense, they want to play very slow, very conservative, and very just meh games. Every good defensive team is like that. I don't understand why. Let's take a look at their offensive line to start. So 14th overall last season. This is where PFF ranks them. The 16th highest pass blocking grade, which was great. Well, not great, but like great for them. As we all know, Seattle's been about bottom, like, I'd say probably 30. Probably 30th overall over the last like decade pass blocking wise. Like, they've been complete trash. Russ has had no help. And last year they finally gave him help, and he was cooking. He was completely cooking, but they weren't winning every game because like Jamal Adams was injured and other parts of their defense were just not clicking at all, and they were terrible. Once Jamal came back and they decided to, play just better defense, I don't know why that led to them passing less, but Russ stopped cooking. Moving on to like this year, we got Dwayne Brown at left tackle. He's their best lineman. He's been around forever, but he's always a solid pass blocker. He had an 87.8 rating last year, which is 5th among tackles, which is great because he's like 35, and it shows that like he's not falling off at all, right? So even at 35, this is his best season ever. He's now recorded 80 plus grades in 7 of the past 10 seasons. That's brilliant. And then right tackle Brandon Shell, coming off his career high 71.4 overall grade. Great to see. The issues come with Damian Lewis is moving to center, right? So he had a really good last year when it came to run blocking grade, but terrible in the pass blocking grade. He's an 83.5 for running and a 47 for pass blocking. So they're putting him in at center to use that run blocking ability and to not force him to have to, deal with as much pressure, basically. So that's good, but also, I mean, it's transitioning a position. Offensive linemen tend to be pretty good at that, transitioning the positions, but it's something to keep an eye out on. Gabe Jackson did well. He was in the green for the first 5 years of his career, so he graded in the green, meaning he did well in his first 5 years. But last year he was the number 41 graded guard at 63.7 overall. His last 2 years haven't been as hot as his first 5. It's kind of a risky pick for Seattle to trade for him, but there could be some good upside because he's always been a good pass blocker. The run blocking is where he struggled a little bit. The only real question mark is Jordan Simmons. and we'll have to kind of see how he does. He's the left guard. He graded out as a 50 overall on 621 snaps last season. Good for 75th among guards. So that's like terrible, obviously. That's a lot of snaps, a big sample size. That's bad. So he's the weak point. If he can improve, this O-line could be a top 10 O-line, obviously, which Russ has never had before, which everybody would love to see. But even with the faltering end of last season, Russ had 4,200 yards, which was ninth. Last year was just a crazy year yardage-wise. Everybody was popping off. 40 touchdowns, tied for second with Brady. That's very good. Very, very good. Interceptions, 13. That's not terrible. That's actually pretty decent. And then 73.5 QBR, eighth. I say pretty decent for the interceptions just because I'm so used to Rodgers. I always I'm a Packers fan, so every time I see his stat line, it's like 4 or 5 interceptions. And when I see 13, I'm like, that's not great. But then you compare that to like the rest of the NFL, it's pretty good. Yeah, so Russ should be good this year. If Pete Carroll, they had their little rift in the offseason, as we all remember, right? Russ was like, I don't know if I want to be here. You guys don't use me right. I think Pete Carroll and coaching staff are gonna like take that into account. Like, okay, we need to realize he's the best player we've had, the best player we're ever gonna get in the next like 20 years. We need to abuse him. We need to just let him throw 100 times a game. I don't care. Treat him like Joe Burrow currently in Cincinnati. Like, let him throw 60 times a game. Like, for real. Imagine Russell Wilson throwing 60 times a game. He probably won't be able to because he'll be so damn efficient. He'll probably throw like 44 passes and have like 6 TDs and 500 yards. Like, this man is unstoppable, especially with who we're getting to next, DK Metcalf and Tyler Locket. So, DK Metcalf, 83 receptions, 1,300 yards, 10 TDs. So, I always do my projections, right? So I have my own projections. And I basically came to the conclusion that he's going to have like a very similar season. I don't see much changing. I have him down for 86 receptions, 1,364 yards, and 10 TDs, which comes out to a grand total of 282.4 points in a full PPR league. I have Tyler Lockett down for 94 receptions, slightly higher, 1,084 yards, and 8.5 touchdowns. That comes down to 253.4. So they are about 30-ish points apart in PPR. So definitely prefer Metcalf there. Not by ADP though. I prefer Lockett's ADP. I'm not going to reach on Metcalf because he's going very high. They're both going to have their explosion games. We know that. They're both going to get their share. You know something I've never showed you guys? Let me actually look at what do I have Russ going for QB. So Russ I have 4,170 yards, 4,170, 39 TDs, 480 rushing yards, 2.5 TDs. So that comes out to 385.8 points, which is about like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's 7th. He has my 7th overall quarterback. So good. That's about where he's going in fantasy. That's where we'd like him. And if he can just stick with that first pace, this first like 10 games, he's going to be the quarterback like 2 overall. I have faith in that. So next we're going to talk about Chris Carson. Chris Carson obviously didn't have a stellar last season. Let me see how many games he played. He played in 12, only 681 yards, 5 TDs, 141 attempts. Nothing special, obviously. He started off the year very well, especially in the receiving category, which is a little weird. You don't think of him as a receiver, but let me show you this. So he started off with 25. This was with 2 TDs. 20 with 1 TD in the receiving game. This is receiving column right here for TDs. 10.6, 25, 20. And then he had his first injury where he missed week 6, right? And then he had his next string of injuries where he missed. See, he only had 5 attempts coming off that injury. That's obviously horrible. The previous games he was having, not great, but he was having some decent passing work. So he'd have 8, 16, 14, 7, and 6 rushing attempts combined with 7, 4, 3, 3, 6 targets. Arizona obviously didn't touch the ball much. Snap share was terrible. Let me look at their snap share for that game, actually. That was week 7. Week 7. Chris Carson, 18%. Yeah. So that's got to be the game he went down or was coming back from. And then after that, he had 13.4, 20, 18.8, and then a bunch of 10s. He wasn't exactly the same after the injury, and I think forward to this year, and I actually don't mind him. I feel like he's relatively consistent, but he's also pretty injury prone. If he can stay healthy, I don't mind this at all. The people behind him on the depth chart are garbage. I'm sorry, but like Travis Homer, DG Dallas, and Rashad Penny are all always injured or just terrible in general. So I think he's going to get all the touches he wants as long as he's healthy. All the touches he wants. He can get up to 20 a game. I'm not going to lie. And that puts him in like a top 10 running back category. But we'll have to see if he stays healthy. Gerald Everett, the new signing over from the Rams, he had not a good previous season. 41 receptions, 417 yards, and 1 TD. I don't know what happened from last year to the year before because he was so much better in 2019 than he was in 2020. I don't know what happened. Like, they just started using Higbee more. It was a weird offense last year. The Rams were not what they used to be. That's honestly, that probably explains it. Like, they were just like Jared Goff sucked and they had to rely on their defense. Once again, when defenses are good, you tend to have a shittier offense or you don't pass as much. I don't know what it is, but I think this year with Stafford coming in, they're gonna be like, all right, we're gonna pass. We gotta pass. Like, Stafford's the man. I'm still not huge on Everett in fantasy, to be honest, because he's going around the likes of Everett. He's going around Ingram, Gronk, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Austin Hooper. Like, I like all of them the same or slightly better than Everett. He couldn't beat out Tyler Higbee for a starting job, and I don't think Tyler Higbee is particularly talented. So I'm gonna hold off on drafting any Gerald Everett. But I think from a strict team depth view, and Russ likes his tight ends, I think this is good for Seattle, like Seattle itself, not for fantasy, but for Seattle. Talked about the O-line, and now we'll move on to the defense. Jamal Adams is obviously the key to this defense. We all know that, and same with Bobby Wagner. I know everyone likes to hate on Jamal and call him Blitz Boy, but guys, you're making the same mistake that you made with Michael Thomas, and it's about to bite you in the ass again this year. When Jamal came back from his injury, he missed like the first 7 games. When he came back, this defense went from giving up like 600 yards per game to about 300. Like, it was just night and day difference yards per game wise. That you guys all remember when Cam lit this defense up for, I think it was 380 passing yards. Let's actually look this up just to really rub it in. How many yards did Cam throw on this defense? Cam Newton. When you let Cam throw for 400 yards, you know you have an issue. You know you have a serious issue. But they fixed it. They really, really revamped that defense when Jamal came back. That's just some stuff that's just irreplaceable. And back to the Michael Thomas thing, like, you guys are going to be sorry calling him Slant Boy. I'm sorry, but I don't even like Michael Thomas as a person. I just know he's going to do great this year. Quandre Diggs, he's good, obviously. Bobby Wagner is just a freaking beast in the middle. Jordan Brooks is good. Carlos Dunlap's obviously the old man. I'm actually surprised. I thought they... Wait, what? I swear... What? Did they not let go of him? Like, I know they got him from the Bengals midseason, but I swear they got rid of him after the season. I swear they did. But anyways, he had a slight impact on the team last year. I liked him. Other than that, like, I'm sorry, but who the fuck is Poona Ford? I have never heard of Poona Ford in my life. The defense is not that great overall. I think they're a middle of the pack defense, maybe like 18th overall, maybe like 19th, 18th, somewhere in there. So, which is why I want them to do what the Chargers and Justin Herbert did last year, but don't go into defense mode when you're winning. So basically what I mean by that is Justin Herbert would sling it over the Chiefs, the Saints, the Bucks, all these great teams, put them in winning positions, and then Anthony Lynn and his pussy-ass coaching staff, I don't know what is wrong with them, but they were like, okay, we're winning, let's just run the ball because that's all we're good for. Like, it's not like Justin just got us into this nice winning position. Let's just try to drain the clock, and then let Pat Mahomes, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady come back and win it. Like, you don't think those quarterbacks know how to play those games? Like, come on, let Justin throw over them. That's the same thing you need to let Russ do. Russ is not a rookie either. Like, you shouldn't be making this mistake anymore. Trust your best option, the best quarterback you've ever had, a top 3 talent at the position. Like, please. It's just getting out of hand over there when they're up on these games and they start pounding with Chris Carson and their defense just like, if their defense can just be average, Chris Carson is average, and they let Russ cook. That's all they need. That is all they need at this team. But the main problem, I'm stuttering like hell. What the heck is wrong with me? I just had like a monster, so I'm a little hyped up. But the main problem with this team isn't even them. It's just the division they're in. They got the Cardinals, they got the 49ers, and they got the Rams, all of which are equally talented, if not way more talented. Like, I think the 49ers and the Rams have way better rosters on paper. I think the Cardinals do too, actually, but I think the Cardinals are a little less polished than the other two teams. The other two teams are just so well coached. Like painfully well coached. Oh my goodness, the Rams and the 49ers are so nice. But yeah, I think it's between Seattle and the Cardinals for last place in that division. I think they'll all be positive records. I think they'll all have very good years, but I don't see Seattle. I don't see Seattle going positive in their division. I think they can go half, but I don't think they go positive. And what tends to happen in divisional games, which kind of sucks for fantasy, is they're lower scoring, especially with the Rams being so good on defense. Take it as you will, but their schedule is going to be tough. This division is tougher than it's ever been. It's obviously the best division in the league. Take it as you want it. Overall, Seahawks, I view them as about a 9 to 10 win team with upside of like 11 to 12. But I think they're more around that. I think they're about 9 and 8, 10 and 7 type team, just because their schedule, as I said before. So, if you guys did like this video, please leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what's up. Sub if you're new around here. Take time to turn that post notice bell on. Catch all the updates around here. Let me know what's going on, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right.